across the world. And I think we need to define a similar global ambition for the biotech industry and not be satisfied with what we have done in the past, but think about where we want to go first. So that's the first thing. The second, clearly in the last few years you would have observed that biotech industry has become very interdisciplinary and technology and other areas are becoming very relevant. So I think we need to sort of bring in other people from other disciplines also into the mix and make sure we are interacting with them far more aggressively than we do. At this moment what we find is, and I've been sitting on the other side of the software industry, a lot of the software industry people are also not interacting a whole lot with other industries. So I think bringing different people from different industries together would really be a big thing that we should look at. The third item was regarding close collaboration between industry leaders, educational institutions, government policy initiatives, regulatory stuff and funding. I think bringing them all together was very critical for the IT industry. I don't know if you recall, but in the early 90s, the government stayed away from the software industry, which was useful. However, the Department of Electronics at that time had made some very amazing announcements specifically around the software technology part and 100% tax holiday for all the software industry. So that really helped in pushing the export market in a very big way. And some of those initiatives that were taken in the early 90s have paid rich dividend over the next 25 years. So I think this may be an opportunity for us at this kind of a forum to think about those small things that can make a difference for the next 25 years. Now, the fourth thing I want to mention is that when IT industry started, the biggest problem was that there weren't enough people trained in the area. There were always these discussions about trespassers being recruited. Like everybody who got in was hired in, and there was a lot of training effort that went amongst the industries in getting people to become programmers and techies. And this is again something that colleges also picked up. Large number of colleges happened, and this was a big initiative for the IT and creating this buzz that we need programmers in large numbers, and scaling was a big part. So that would be the fourth one. But while we do this scaling at large numbers, it's important to keep the researchers in the mix as well. And that's something that IT did not do as much, but I think biotech will need to do that. And the last thing I want to mention in this context is branding. So what happened and where NASSCOM and especially Devang and others were very good at was creating this image that IT has arrived, everyone should become an IT engineer. All parents were very interested in getting their kids to become IT engineers, and the whole buzz that got created as one voice really helped the tech industry into being where it is today. So I think we can certainly get some ideas from the NASSCOM playbook and replicate this in this industry as well. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I mean, that's very, very important actually. I just have one other point before I move on to the other person. I think the data protection has become a very sticky affair now. In biological industry, the data is very complex. How do you think we should handle data protection, in your opinion, right now, as we look into the completely different models that are emerging, including in financial sectors and other areas of data protectivity?
Yes, this is a difficult problem because I think there are conflicting areas that we need to worry about. On one hand, we definitely want to make sure that individual data is private and is protected. However, when we collect data for lots of people, potentially the research value of that data is significantly greater than the value of each individual data set. So I think we need to work on this into multiple formats. One is to ensure that individuals' data is protected, but we get the regulation to allow us to work on large volumes of data such that through techniques such as the newer ones that are coming up, there may be an opportunity to protect individual data while still being able to share data across the board. Actually, I'm very optimistic about the crypto and zero knowledge proof, homomorphic encryption, and some of the newer techniques that are happening right now in computer science, which are typically being used by the crypto Web3 industry, which if applied to these areas could also give us an opportunity to create data platforms without compromising individual privacy. So I think this is a good area to think about in the biotech group, along with the NASSCOM and other IT groups should work together to solve this problem. And the Chinese have done a very different approach which may not work for us, but we really have to find a way to collect the data, be able to do machine learning and modeling against that, and still not compromise individual privacy.
Thank you very much. Well, it's a very important area of data handling, how we're going to look into the future, because we're all struggling with genome sequencing data, we're struggling with analysis of, where